Good morning, YouTube friends and family. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm just coming back from picking up some parts I needed for the trucks. I have a oil pressure sending unit. It did something a little bit bizarre. The unit was still reading, but what it did is it blew out internally and oil came up and out through the wire harness side. A little bizarre, but I needed that. It's a Mac only part, or Volvo. They're the same thing. And then I have an EGR to manifold gasket that's bad on another one. And so I'm gonna attempt the repair myself. It's a big job. It's a big job. You got to take pretty much everything off the hot side of the motor on the exhaust, and you have a really high probability of busting bolts in the manifold, in which case you need to extract them or replace the manifold, and that turns into a mess real quick. And so I got my hands full. I'm a little busy, but it's kind of a long drive. Unfortunately, where my yard is, there isn't a dealership close by. And so, as I'm driving, I kind of remembered some comments on some of the Facebook posts, and I wanted to touch on the subject of people getting their CDL and immediately purchasing a truck and wanting to open an authority. It's doable, don't get me wrong, but understand, picture you just got your doctorate and basically you got your degree that says you studied medicine. You still have to go pass a test and get your license, but picture you're that guy and you want to go open your own practice. Now understand, just because you got your CDL, you really still don't know how to drive. If you went to a truck driving school, they taught you how to pass the test. You still have a lot to learn when it comes to driving the trucks and maintaining them, knowing which trucks are good ones, which ones are bad. And you're going to jump into a world of narrow margins, a world where, mind you, some of the biggest players go bankrupt. And this is a bad time of year. Freight rates are lower and fuel prices are climbing. And the sad thing is, so many of you are all fired up to do this for the sake of getting on with Amazon. If Amazon is your one and only goal, wait till the third or fourth quarter of the year. Wait till they get busy. Wait till the rates are going up. So at the very least, you have a fighting chance of running, with better rates. This is the slow season for Amazon, and you have a lot of learning to do. Never filed IFTA before. Some of you still don't know what your insurance is going to cost. You don't know anything about trucks. Ask yourself this: if you just got your CDL and you think that because you went to a school and they trained you, you think that you know how to operate your vehicle. On purpose, when we would go to hire someone, on purpose, we would tell the driver, here is a daily vehicle inspection report. I want you to go inspect truck number 632. Knowing that truck is out of service, okay? Knowing that it has a problem and should not go out. driver would walk back in 15 minutes later with a filled out form, and we'd ask them, so is that truck ready to go? Can we take you on a road test on it? Yes. Okay, we'll be in touch. You'd be amazed how many people really don't know how to do an inspection. They say, oh, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. They don't know the tolerances. They don't know how worn your tires can be. They don't know how worn your brakes can be. Ask yourself this. Do you know how to adjust your brakes? When I started driving, someone posted on Facebook, what's up with these prehistoric drivers or whatever. And to that I say, I may be prehistoric, but I can hold my own in the shop. No, I won't get hired by a dealership to go in there and work. But, maybe I'll post a little video here on some of the repairs I'm doing. But yeah, I'm curious. How many of you know how to adjust your own brakes? The days of, non-self-adjusting brakes have since come and gone. I don't imagine most of you are driving something with brakes that you mechanically go and adjust yourself. I don't remember when those were mandated, but even with the self-adjusting brakes, how many of you know how to adjust brakes? If you get an out of service at a scale, they'll tell you you can't go adjust them unless you're certified. I have the certification, and I carry it with me in the truck. So I can pull that out, show it to them, and say, I can do this, guys. They may not like it, but I got certified by a company called Stemco. They're a manufacturer. One of our suppliers was offering it as a free class, and I went, sat my butt down there, and I did it. There's also a way you can do it without being certified and without having to do anything at all. And if your brakes are working correctly, they will self-adjust. How many of you know how to do that? And so, again, like I said in my previous video that's uploading as we're speaking, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to point out the things you need to be ready for. And a lot of people aren't. And I get that. I've been at this a long time. I've been around the block. I know trucks a little better than most. I got that oil pressure sending unit that I'm going to replace. Most people wouldn't do that. I changed all the filters on the truck. I did an oil change. Replacing the filters. If you don't do it right, you gotta purge the fuel system. A lot of people don't know how to do that. The EGR job, it's a bigger job, but I think I can pull it off. And I think I can do it without breaking any of the bolts. That's the real trick. And so, for those of you that think, this is a great industry, I just got my CDL, and I'm going to go jump into this, understand that there's a lot to know more than just steer the truck and get it from point A to point B. The truck you're going to buy, is it known for having a problematic engine? Are the emissions in your truck known for being problematic? Are you going to have to be taking your truck to the dealership every time a check engine light turns on? I've got factory licensed diagnostic software that I use, and so I may not be the smartest man in the world, but I can plug into the truck's ECM and read the codes, and it even gives me, a procedure to diagnose each code. And if you can read and you have halfway decent comprehension and you're a little mechanically inclined, there's a lot of stuff you can do. But it does really concern me how many of you, because I just read another post, hey, I just formed my LLC, I just graduated from, truck driving school, I got a new CDL, and I have a question. And it's great you're asking questions, but understand, the Facebook lawyers, a lot of them are giving you hearsay and, You're getting a lot of old wives' tales. You would be amazed how many people don't understand the simple concept of what not for hire stands for. Some people think it means you're exempt from all FMCSA rules and you could just go. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Not for hire is a term used by carriers that do not haul other people's property. And so an example of a not for hire carrier would be a contractor that's moving his own backhoe to a construction site. And some of you are going to say, oh, no, he's being paid because he's charging to move that backhoe. That's where the old wives' tale comes in. Not for hire means you cannot hire me to transport your property, but I can transport my own. It's otherwise known as a private carrier. And so even people that have been in this business for 30, 40, 50 years, even some of those people still don't have it straight. I am fortunate in that I have run a private carrier authority and a for hire authority, and so I know the differences and I know where the line is. And I'm not trying to say that makes me better than anyone, but I'm giving the example of how many people are a little bit misguided or misinformed, and now you're jumping into this kind of head first, and you haven't checked to see how deep the water in the pool is yet. And so, and then, a lot of you are trying to jump into Amazon, where if it weren't for people like me telling you, hey, you need to wait to book that load, don't just grab it when you see it, the rate will go up. And so on top of being new to the business and not being ready for a major catastrophic failure or, anything along those lines, you don't have the cash reserves yet. You couldn't survive having to do an in-frame on a truck. You just started. You probably don't have $20,000 in the bank to send it to a dealership and get it done. And so, you're on really thin ice to start, and you've got no experience. You got a piece of paper that says you're legal to drive the truck, but you don't have experience driving the truck. It's kind of a scary proposition, guys. And to be honest, please no one take it the wrong way. It's part of the reason why insurance is so expensive. A lot of first-year carriers make really big mistakes, whether it's accidents, getting put out of service, on roadside inspections, and insurance companies see this. Likewise with brand new drivers, I'm with Progressive now, and so they take just about anyone. You can put just about anyone on a Progressive policy, but my previous carrier, if I tried to put someone on and they had less than 2 years verifiable experience, they'd tack on like another $2,000 a year in premium just to add that driver. And that adds up. That adds up quick. Especially if you're a new carrier, you're already paying on the high side of the scale. And so really think and try and plan what it is you're going to do. My previous video, I kind of explained why my tone or my comments seem to be on the negative side. I'm trying to point out, where this thing can bite you. You hear older guys like me saying, oh, well, don't run under other people's authority because, they take all your profit. There's truth to that. They charge you a fee, but usually if the company's done a good job of keeping their CSA score good, and they're an older, more mature authority, usually the trade-off to that is much cheaper insurance. And the difference in the insurance is a big enough difference where losing a couple percent to run under somebody else's authority might be really close to being a wash. And the upside is the time you run under that person's authority, any mistake you made, an out of service, an overweight, anything like that, it goes on their CSA score instead of yours. And this will give you time to learn how you keep track of things, how you document things, how you make sure you're getting, for example, all your daily vehicle inspection reports done, signing all of your daily logs. Every single one needs to be signed. It's just the way it is. Lots of little things that most people don't think about and don't consider, and you should be ready for. And so when you jump in, you get immediately enrolled in what they call a new entrant program, which means they're going to come knocking on your door. Usually within the first year and a half, they're going to want to come to your place of business and review all your files, make sure you have driver files, truck files, make sure everything's current, up to date, and that you have your drivers enrolled in a drug screening program if they are CDL drivers. And I'm not saying it's too much to handle, but I think a new driver should focus on getting the experience behind the wheel and learning to deal with the challenges that come with operating a big vehicle. Learn how to throw chains, learn how to properly do vehicle inspection reports, learn how to do some of your own maintenance. I'm gonna do 5 oil changes, and so depending on where you go for your oil change and the type of oil you use, that's $300 to $450, and I'm gonna do 5 of them. So I'm gonna save quite a bit of money there. Replacing this gasket on the EGR, the book says it's a 6.5 hour job. So take shop time, of 6.5 hours times whatever your local shop charges, $90, $100 an hour. Plus, if they break anything, if they break a stud off in that manifold and they can't get it out, it's an $800 manifold. And so, these costs add up quick. Knowing what you're doing, knowing how to do it, knowing how to avoid it, all of this comes in handy. And when you have guys like me that have been around trucks pretty much their whole lives walk away from certain types of work or certain types of vehicle, it's for a reason. And even for me, it's still sometimes hard to make a buck. And so it can be very risky for you to go brand new CDL, go jump into a truck payment, and go open a new authority, and that's going to be the start of your business. I've said it before on some of the Facebook groups. When I went into business for myself, I went into a business that I had 15 years experience in. I didn't open a bakery because I don't know how to bake. I get the part where you mix a batter and you follow the directions, but to do it on a commercial level is a little different, isn't it? And so just throwing that out there, guys. Not saying don't do it. Consider being a company driver for a few months. The odds are that a brand new driver is going to have some kind of property damage claim within the first year of driving. And wouldn't it be better that it's somebody else's truck and not your own? Because mind you, every time you need to put your truck in the shop, whether it's the body shop, repair shop, or, you know, even a place just to get your truck washed, detailed, polished, whatever, on top of what it costs you, you have a negative impact on your revenue stream. And so, like right now that my trucks have been down for a couple of weeks, I haven't had a dime come in. Nothing. And so it can be tough. And especially when you just started out and your maintenance fund doesn't have a whole lot of money in it yet. You know, a serious breakdown could end your business. And then all of a sudden you don't have the money to fix the truck. So you need to walk away. But now you have a truck that is broken, and someone like me, you know, back when oil field was booming, before I started buying the Max, you know, I bought Peterbilts for $8,000 that needed an in-frame, which I could do in-house. My biggest expense was going to be towing it either to my shop in the Permian or to a friend's shop in Southern California, and, you know, I'd have him do it. And so my videos are designed to hopefully not guide you guys into that scenario. A friend of mine that started up, this was years ago, but, you know, when he first jumped in, he went out, you know, bought a truck, wanted to be an owner-operator, and the truck was, you know, relatively sound. It was a decent truck, but it had all recaps, and most of them were worn. And so within a couple months, you know, he had to go out and buy 8 tires at, you know, $300-400 a pop. And so that adds up, especially when you're just starting out. If you have another source of income, let's say your spouse works and makes good money, or you have passive income from something else, you know, real estate investments, whatever, you know, then maybe you're in a little bit better shape than most. But if you're going all in with this thing, maybe go do a little test run and drive for someone. Get a little time behind the wheel in somebody else's truck. Learn. I mean, for those of you that are going to Amazon, you know, learn how to bump docks. You'd be amazed how many people can't back up into a dock. See it every day. Anyway, just wanted to drop that on you guys real quick. I had a little time to burn. The dealership's kind of a drive, and so I figured I'd throw that out there. I read a couple comments on some of the Facebook groups. It's a little concerning how many people are getting authorities and they really don't know anything about trucks. They don't know anything about trucking. They barely got their CDL, and now they have to deal with all the permits, the FMCSA, insurances, and everything else. Don't get me wrong, it's doable, but you're in my opinion, you're jumping in head first, where it maybe should be something where you kind of walk in on the shallow side of the pool a little bit first and test the waters. For all you know, you don't even like going over the road. It's very possible. Me personally, I don't like being away from the family as much as I am. That's the hardest thing for me. I mean, I didn't choose over the road. When we were doing oil field, you know, I'd be away for a week, but then I'd go home for a week. And the week I was home, you know, I'd take the kids to school, doctor's appointments. In fact, I on purpose scheduled doctor's appointments for when I was home so that I could participate in that. And, you know, even like school meetings, you know, I became friends with my daughter's principal, and, you know, they had something called Dad's Club, And he and I would communicate so that my schedule lined up with Dad's club. And that was good, because I'd be home for a week. And by home, I don't mean like home and then go to a job. I mean home like I have an office at the house. And so I could get up in the morning, take my daughter to school, come back, play with my son a little bit, work from the home office for a little bit, go pick up my daughter and just do things from home. This over the road thing is different. It drags you away for longer periods of time. And when you come home, it's never enough. You may not like that. One of my subscribers has a channel of his own, and I didn't get to watch the whole video because the phone on my battery went dead, but it looks like he's going to jump out of over the road. He just doesn't feel like it's for him. It's tough. It's not an easy thing. And especially if you have a significant other, honestly, if I could put my wife in the truck with me, even if she didn't drive, and we didn't have kids, and we could just cruise across the country and, see the sights, I'd be cool with it. But it's not the case. And, I miss her and I miss my kids. It's just the way it is. And you're going to make an investment and not even know if this is something that's for you. I mean, if you're young, in your 20s, you're single, and you're not in a hurry to get married, start a family. I didn't start having kids till later in life. Like I said in my previous video, I'm a workaholic. I work a lot. Some would argue way too much. I'm a workaholic. And so in my 20s and 30s, I was on my grind. Had my daughter when I was 38. And so, I waited, and I was in business for myself already and owned my own home before I took on the responsibility of, bringing other lives into the world. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble. Just wanted to throw that out there a little bit. Really try and paint the bigger picture of yourself or of your goal. You're going to take on a whole lot with almost no experience. And this trucking business can be tough. It can be tough. Anyways, good luck, guys.